Everyone, while I'm going through the Nashville area, I decided to check out the Nashville Farmers Market. So I'm on the way to that now, about 20 minutes out. And when I get there, I'm going to see if I can find any other fellow candle makers, fellow candle booths, maybe subscribers to the channel. And yeah, it'll be fun. So we'll check out some booths and maybe I'll hop back on. If we have time, maybe I'll do a quick conversation with them, see if they got any tips or pointers. Introduce you if I find anyone, but either way I'll come back and we'll maybe talk about some basic tips and strategies for handling farmers markets or other outdoor shows. Well, my plans just got screwed. As soon as I got down here, it started pouring and major winds. I'm pretty sure the farmers market's gonna have to like pack up. I'm sure there's some stuff inside that's still open, so I'll probably still go in there and check it out, but yeah. It's pretty bad. I'll put a few pictures up too, but can't really see right now. But the winds are just blowing everything over. It was hard even just to drive the last 5 minutes here. So scratch that idea. I guess I'll try again next time. Yeah, screw it. I'm gonna try to at least go in real quick. I'm not raining too bad at the moment. At least get inside and check it out. And then, oh shit. All right, one building was super nice inside. I'm gonna try to make it across here and see what else is going on. I imagine everything outside's had to close up though. It's so funny. Yeah. Now, there was a Bubble Love boba tea. I've never had boba tea before, so just because it sounds ridiculous to me, but I was staying around with nothing else to do, so I decided to try one. I got a passion fruit with like lychee boba. I don't know, feels stupid even saying that, but I don't know. We'll give it a shot. You got one of those boba balls or something. Not sure how I feel about it. I don't know. I'm actually kind of liking it. Don't know how I feel about that either. All right, so I'm going to get settled, and then we'll go ahead and continue this video with some tips on how to handle farmer markets, outdoor craft shows. Even though we didn't get a chance to talk with anyone out there today, we can still talk about it, you and me. So, all right. All right, everyone, as promised, I am back to where I'm staying and I am settled. And I want to just talk a little bit about, some tips on things to think about and approaches when you're doing outdoor events, such as farmer markets or just outdoor craft booths. Like I said, unfortunately, when I went out today, I was hoping to stop by a couple candle booths and maybe talk with the owners, get some of their perspective and tips as well. Because at farmers markets, a lot of them, they're up and running every single weekend, and so it's not just like a one-time, once-a-year show. It's something they do consistently, so they offer usually a lot of great insight. But needless to say, I couldn't do it because of the weather, and that's all right. I did get to at least walk around, check out the market. It's a very nice one. In some of these bigger cities, I like to visit the farmers markets and check them out, and this was nice. I got a few snacks and walked around and checked out some of the other booths that were going on. Like I said, I tried the boba tea, which whatever. And then there was this cute dog that was walking around with carrying the lady's bag and basically just walking all the shops. And if she bought little knickknacks, she'd throw them in and the dog would carry them around. It was pretty freaking cute. Now, I did find a couple candle booths. The outdoor ones were closed down, so there's not much I could really do there. And then inside there was a candle bar that is set up sort of like an island setup, which if you go to a mall and you see those island, usually cell phone companies, for example, or cell phone accessories, they had a candle bar set up in the middle. They were also busy helping someone else, so I didn't really talk to them or anything, but at least took a couple pictures of it. I also walked in the Made in Tennessee store inside the farmers market. I also like to visit those stores anytime I'm traveling, and there were a few different candle brands in there as well. A couple of them you could definitely tell Soy 464 or C3 wax anytime you come across it. It's got that notable frosting look on it, especially in the colored candles, but pretty nice scents. Also, there was a sweet tea candle company that had really nice looking jars and labels, I thought. I'll show a little bit of that footage as well. The scents were not necessarily my cup of tea.
pun intended. But I really like the candles that are well made, and so are the labels. So let's talk about some strategies, things to think about. And I took a few notes here because I am outdoors, as you can tell right now, and it is raining, and I'm also sort of distracted by the rain, by the wind, and so I didn't want to lose track of my thoughts here and what I wanted to talk about. But I've got 10 or 12 different tips here to help you all out anytime you're doing outdoor events. First is, and this applies, a lot of these tips apply to whether they're indoor or outdoor events, but you always want to make sure you're creating a visual impact with heights and layers, right? So you don't just want like one table, flat candles. You want to add some elevation if at all possible. So find some shelving, find some tiered racks, anything to add some elevation, some height to your display, because first of all, it's easier to notice, but it's also just more engaging, and it's easier for customers to you capture their eye a little bit better, but it just looks more creative and interesting, and it's going to make it look more appealing to customers. Another thing that's important when it comes to catching people's attention is having a strong, cohesive brand look. Now, we talk about that on the channel all the time anyways, but this applies as well when you go to shows. You don't want to look totally unorganized, scattered, chaotic, like nothing really fits together. Now, you can get away with that with foot traffic to some degree because people are going to pass your tables and booths anyways. And so it's less important here than it is like on an e-commerce, like a website, right? You need cohesive branding. But at these shows, the more cohesive your brand looks together, the more thematic your brand looks, the more like on brand everything looks together. It just screams a higher level of professionalism, but also a more thought out, well-developed business. And so customers will be drawn to that. And customers, I don't need to tell you this, but customers are loyal to brands. And so when something speaks to them and they can kind of relate to them or they can get into that brand, that's what sells. And so you don't want to just look kind of random and scattered and all over the place like you're just kind of trying something out for the first time, which, don't get me wrong, you got to start somewhere. So nice. So I'm not trying to keep you, make you shy away from getting started, but just keep in mind that the quicker you can get to that established brand identity, the better. Another thing is if you plan on having kind of scent test stations or places where people can smell samples, be really careful and cautious with that inside, because a lot of places don't allow you to burn any candles, and the scent can be overwhelming. So it's hard to smell anything if you got one candle going or one warmer going. Outside, it's kind of the opposite. I don't see a lot of benefit in leaving a lot of jars with lids off for people to smell, because the wind, the breeze, the airflow just kind of drafts all that everywhere. And so you just get all these mixed fragrances, mixed smells throughout the entire area. So it's not, I don't know, it just smells like a hot mess. So my personal opinion is just keep everything closed and have one out front, labeled sample or tester, so if they want to pop open the lid, they can. Or find other ways to creatively have like little jars with a scent strip in it or something like that. Anything can really work. I'm just not a big fan of having everything open outdoors because it all just kind of wafts together anyways. All right, so next I think we need to talk about pricing structure. It's really important to have a clear price structure when it comes to anywhere, including your website, but particularly that shows, because people are walking, it's walking traffic, and if they're confused, they don't understand, or they don't see something clear, they're just going to keep going. So have clear signage. For example, every candle's $20, buy two for $35, or buy three, get one free. Whatever deals and promos you want to use is great, but make sure that it's something easy, clear, precise, because you don't want to lose customers because it's too complex or just not clear, right? Also, highlight your best sellers, especially if they're seasonal ones. So if you're doing fall craft shows, winter craft shows, of course you want your seasonal ones to be front and center. But year-round, either way, you want your best sellers front and center, either on their own individual shelf, their own display, whatever it is. Make sure that those are easy to spot, because best sellers are what move the needle the most, and that's usually what gets people's attention. If you can draw them to your best sellers, then you've got their ear, you've got their eye, you've got their nose, and they can start sampling other things. But you always want to get their attention with your best sellers or your seasonal favorites. This next one's sort of a no-brainer these days, but make sure you're card ready, tech ready. This day and age, people are just not carrying as much cash, and they're expecting to be able to pay with a card. It's quick, it's seamless, it's easier for them. Honestly, it's easier for you too, not to have to deal with cash. You also have better conversion rates and increased sales taking card as well. Now, some of these events do have Wi-Fi. I would recommend getting your own dedicated hotspot, whether it's on your phone or a separate dedicated hotspot puck, something that you can control your own internet connection and set up your own Wi-Fi bubble. That's going to give you the most consistent results. You're not sharing the bandwidth at open Wi-Fi at some kind of event with hundreds of other vendors. And so always have a backup for you as well. So I recommend getting a hotspot, an actual mobile hotspot, and then use your cell phone hotspot as a backup if that's an option for you. And when it comes to technology, make sure you got backup everything. Backup readers, backup power, backup hotspots, whatever. Next, make sure you offer some sort of small impulse options. So if they're there to purchase candles, maybe you have some wax melts in a basket next to the checkout. Maybe you have some wick trimmers. Maybe you've got some stickers, maybe you've got some coasters, maybe you have some matches, anything like that that pairs well with your product, whatever you're selling. We're talking about candles in this video, but it could be soap, it could be knickknacks, it could be lotions, whatever. Just make sure you have some impulse options that are easy to throw in as they're approaching checkout. Sometimes this also works like add-on bonuses. So if they spend $50, they get a free wax melt. Or if they spend $50, they get a free set of matches, or whatever it is, right? So you can use them as add-ons, kind of bonuses, incentives, or promotions, or you can just add them as impulse items so that customers throw them in last minute. Also, it's important at events like this to tell your story. Remember, craft shows, farmers markets are local events, and people shop local for a reason. They want to know your story, your brand, get to know you as a business and a business owner. So the more you can relate to them and be able to tell your story, the better. Now that might just mean having a sign up or a banner or something that says who you are, what you do, something about your brand. Just make sure you capture their attention. You don't have to stop everyone and give them a whole spiel and tell a story, but maybe you have like a little tablet with a video showing a little bit about your business and what you do. Maybe you have a couple flyers, brochures, pamphlets, signs, whatever. Have something that says, look, I'm not just a regular candle business. Like, I'm not just a person selling candles. What is your brand? Why are you here? How did you get started? People love that. And that sort of relates to the next one, which is be approachable, not pushy. It's important to be approachable and to engage and chat with customers or potential customers as they walk by, but you want to be welcoming, maybe just a hi. Is there anything I can help you find? Something like that. You know, spark up conversation in a natural, fun, non-pushy way, but you do not want to be overbearing. You do not want to approach someone that doesn't look like they want to be approached. You don't want to try to oversell. You don't want to be a car salesman. No one likes that. So stand there, be ready, have a smile on your face. If you look grumpy, like you don't want to be there, no one's going to want to stop. But at the same time, if you're overly enthusiastic, overly energetic, and overbearing, that's also going to steer people away. So let people take their time, let people shop around, let people do their thing, but look welcoming and approachable, and that will lead you to a lot better results as well. And then next, find a way to capture some leads for repeat customers. So this might be coupons or vouchers that you're handing out at that event only that they can use to purchase online from your website if you have one. Or give them a punch card or something like that, some kind of loyalty program or incentive. If you're at a farmer's market every weekend and they come by every single weekend, give them a punch card or some kind of promotion for consistent repeat customers. There are a lot of ways you can do this. You can collect emails, you can give incentives, you can, like I said, offer them a discount on their purchase on your website, throw in a card in their bag, whatever you can do, try to encourage repeat business because it's hard enough to get new customers to begin with. It's much easier to keep repeat customers, right? So the hard part is getting the first time customer. And so you don't want to lose that. You don't want to have to always have a business that's starting from scratch every time and getting new customers every single time. You want to get new customers and then keep those customers coming back over and over and over. Something else I wanted to talk about real quick was booth setup layout ideas. So there's basically 4 main booth setup ideas. And I'll start with the most basic, which is a single table with a back display. So if small events where you don't have a lot of room and you just get a table, you just set up your table display the best you can, add some elevation like we talked about earlier, and then you kind of stand off to the side or maybe behind the table somewhere where you can take payment. But you got to keep it confined, you got to keep it simple and straightforward. And that's just something that some people have to use because of the event. Another option that will kind of level up from that is the L-shaped layout. And this is like one long table and then a short side table, and you can be the checkout on the short side, you can do checkout on the other corner from the long table, but basically your display is an L, and the customers walk in. Well, you can have the L internal or externally facing, either way, but it gives you a little bit of a corner display. It allows your customers to still have easy access. It looks fairly nice. You're still going to want some elevation though, and it's pretty friendly for a small space. And then a third option, which is personally my favorite, is some sort of U-shape setup. And this is if you have plenty of room, but you have tables or shelves on one side and another in the back. Customers walk into the space, and then you are positioned on one of the ends of the U, somewhere in the corner, somewhere where you can take payment and check out. I like to make a flow where people can come in and they shop all the way around, and that you're at one end. And that way you're not kind of bottlenecking everything up somewhere, right? So that's my favorite. It gives them the most room to walk around, gives you the most space for displaying items, and overall it's a really, really good layout if you have the space to do it. If you want more details on how I set up my craft booths in the past and some tips on that, I've got a video. I'll try to remember to link it below. It goes into a lot more detail, and you can visually see my layout. Where I'm at right now, I can't really do that, but that goes into a lot more footage and display of like prepping for shows, how I run things at the show, what my displays look like, and so on. And then there's one other display type, which we actually touched on earlier, and that is the island style. And this is better if you've got a really big space, or those giant like holiday shows where there's wide hallways and maybe you're positioned in the middle, or like at a mall and you're in an aisle. Or a walkway, and that is you have like an island set up and people can come all the way around, right? So you've got displays facing every direction, you're kind of in the middle somewhere. That's another option, but it's a lot harder to find that at like at a farmer's market or a standard holiday show or craft event. A couple other things that I want to mention when it comes to setup and tear down. It's important to have something that is mobile friendly, that you can set up quickly and take down easily. Now, there are events that are indoors and they last several days, and in that case you have more time. It can be a more elaborate setup. It takes longer to set up and take down, and it's totally fine. But in situations like today, actually, where there is a farmer's market and you have an outdoor booth and then thunderstorms start rolling in, you got to be able to kind of wrap up quickly. So always be thinking about, what can I do to make setup and take down easier, quicker, more efficient? Rolling totes help. Shelves that kind of pop up and down pretty quickly. Keep your items in boxes so it's easier to just kind of like set up and then put them back in the box to go, or totes, bins. Do a trial run at this at home, wherever you can, in your garage or somewhere that's kind of, you can sort of mimic the space. That way you get really quick at setting up and tearing down, so you're not wasting time on site doing that. And then if you are doing outdoor events where there's direct sunlight, try to keep your candles out of direct sunlight. Obviously, some people have fans going, but that's only going to help so much. Outdoor events that are really hot are just a little tough to do. It's best to keep a few samples out and then keep all the rest of the product kind of in tubs or bins in a cooler place, under the table, in the shade, surrounded by fans, wherever you can to kind of protect from that heat. You can bring coolers, insulated boxes, anything like that. If you're someone that does these type of shows regularly, or you live in California, you live in Florida, and all your shows all year long are hot, you find out ways to manage that. But it is a little tough to do, and you just gotta, certain waxes can withstand higher heats. Certain waxes can withstand higher heat and sunlight more than others. And so that'll make it a little bit easier for you. But for the most part, it's a wax. It's meant to melt with heat, because that's how a candle works. So there's only so much you can do. All right, so with all that, I appreciate you taking the time to join me on this impromptu video while I'm here in Nashville. I am headed to the World Candle Congress, and I will be there for about a week or maybe a little bit less. And if you guys have any questions for me regarding that or this video in particular, let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you have any other recommendations for things for me to check out on my travels, let me know as well. I appreciate it. Let me know what you guys think about the video. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're interested in more content. And see you next time. Thanks.